Olá! Oi, gente, tudo bem? Welcome to this Q&A. I'm very happy to be here with you today. I hope you guys can see me and hear me well. Oi, Mônica, tudo bom? Jacob? Olá! Okay, so I'm here today to review the last lesson that I published on YouTube and also to answer your questions if you have questions. Thank you for joining me. Before I start talking about the last lesson, I just want to tell you that the free course, the free mini course, Viajando ao Brasil, Traveling to Brazil, is still available for replay. So if you missed this mini course, I had 5 classes. I taught the classes live, but all the classes are recorded and available for replay. So to watch the classes and also have access to the material, you have to go to my website, school.speakingbrazilian.com, and sign up for the course. It's completely free. It will be available only until this Sunday, okay? Then it will go offline. So if you missed it and you'd like to have this material, just go to the website and sign up for free. On Sunday, I'll take it offline. Okay, guys? And the second thing, if you're new to my channel, if you started following me now, I want you to know that I also offer a free course in pronunciation that is very good and very complete. And this course has helped many thousands of people around the world. If you have not taken this course yet, you can also sign up for free on my website. This course is always available, so there is no rush, but I highly recommend that you take it. It is available on my website, school.speakingbrazilian.com. Okay, guys? Okay, so let's start talking about the last lesson. If you missed it, if you have not watched it yet, go to my YouTube channel and watch it. It's about how to study Portuguese with books. Of course, the topics, the tips that I give you also work for other languages. So if you're learning other languages, you can apply the same tips for these other languages. And I also give you in this video a lot of tips on how to use books to study. I give you recommendations of books, Brazilian books for different levels, beginner, intermediate, advanced. And also I give a list of places where you find Brazilian books. So this is very useful for you guys. If you have not watched the video yet, you find the video on my YouTube channel, okay? Tomek, oi Tomek, tudo bom? Não, agora eu estou em Nova York. I'm back to New York. I spent 1 month in Brazil. It was amazing. But I'm happy to be back home. It is cold. There was a snowstorm a couple of days ago. So it is a very big contrast. I came from Brazilian summer, 30 degrees Celsius in Brazil, and I get here and it is 30 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a big, big difference. Okay, but I'm happy to be back to New York. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. It is hard for me to read all your comments, so on YouTube, you can just copy and paste your question more than one time, so I have a bigger chance of seeing it. And if you're watching me on Instagram, I recommend you use the tool, the question mark tool. Click on that and then use that tool to ask your question, okay? Because it is really hard for me to read it. Tudo bom, Abraham, Fernando, Ana? Tudo bom, Tomek, Andrew, Marcos? So good to see you guys here. I also see Cody, Jimena, Chloe, Irina, Dominus, Canon, Annabella, tudo bom? Okay, guys, so in this last video, I talked about a topic that I really love, which is reading books. I love books. I read every day, and I really like to use books to learn languages. Of course, in the beginning, it is really hard, right? You cannot just get a book and read a book when you are just starting to learn a new language. It's very difficult, but you can do that with children's books. So you can find very simple, very easy books in your target language, books that are written for children, and you can start reading that slowly, phrase by phrase, sentence by sentence. I promise you that it will help you a lot. Of course, only works if you like reading, right? If you don't have any pleasure reading, then this would not work for you. But if you like reading, you can start with very simple. It can be comic books, children's books. These are going to help you a lot. We have so many comic books in Portuguese, Brazilian comic books. The ones that I recommend the most are Turma da Mônica, Mônica's Gang. It is easy to find in Brazil, not so easy to find outside Brazil. But in my video, I give you some websites where you can find Brazilian books, and I think you can also find comic books. Muito bom. Eu gosto de ler o livro O Alquimista. Muito bom, Kiri. O Alquimista do Paulo Coelho, né? Muito bom. This is the most famous book, I guess. Everyone told me, oh, I'm reading Alchemist, I'm reading Alchemist. I think this book is very popular outside Brazil and also in Brazil. Paulo Coelho is a very, very popular writer. I think it is the most popular writer in Brazil, especially outside Brazil. I also, in the video, I recommend some authors. So for beginner level, I really recommend the children's books written by Cecilia Meirelles. They are beautifully written. Of course, there are so many other books. I'm just giving you some recommendations, but any children's books that you find online, I'm sure they're good for you. Meu Pé de Laranja, yeah, Meu Pé de Laranja Lima. This is a beautiful book. So Cecilia Meirelles, children's books. She also writes poems and articles and many other things. So for beginner level, I would recommend her children's books, but also intermediate level, I would recommend her other works. And also more intermediate level, I highly recommend Veríssimos, Luis Fernando Veríssimo. He writes many interesting books, and they're very light, they're funny. So I recommend his books as well. He has many, many books available. You can find some of his books on Amazon, and also, but I also recommend you look for books on Brazilian bookstores. Some Brazilian bookstores, they deliver internationally, so even if you don't live in Brazil, you can buy books from Brazil and get it delivered to you. I usually buy books from Livraria Cultura. Livraria Cultura. It's my favorite bookstore in Brazil, and they do have international shipping. And if you compare prices, because I know prices sometimes is a problem when you're buying Brazilian books on Amazon, for instance. Some books are so expensive. I was looking on the other day for a dictionary, and I found a very good dictionary for $200. What? So expensive. So sometimes it's not worth it to buy things on Amazon. So if you look on Livraria Cultura, even paying the international shipping, sometimes it is less expensive than buying a book on Amazon here in the US. It is not easy to find Brazilian books in the US. I'm not sure how things are in Europe. Maybe in Europe you can find more European Portuguese books, right, from Portugal. Which is also a good option if you like reading in Portuguese. If you read books from Portugal, you're also going to learn a lot of Portuguese, because the language is mostly the same, especially when written language, there is no much difference. So if you like reading books from Portugal, this is also a very good option. Okay, guys, let me know if you have any questions. I'm just speaking non-stop here. So, livros dos filhos ou jovens. Yes, that's a good option. Okay, I'm just looking if you have questions. So, yeah, I've got this question a lot from Brazilian audiobooks. I don't know any website where you can find Brazilian audiobooks. I would have to check that out. I'm not sure. Sorry, I can't remember, I can't think of any website where you can find Brazilian audiobooks. O Príncipezinho, so this is a very good option. I think in Brazil we call it Pequeno Príncipe, O Pequeno Príncipe. I think Príncipezinho is the Portuguese version, which is probably not too different. Yes, this is a very good option. I think that reading translations is also a very good option for you, right? International books that were translated into Portuguese. The language is usually simpler from translations than reading original books. And this is a very good one. I've read Príncipezinho in French and Portuguese. It is so beautiful. Okay, looking for more comments and questions, guys. What other books are you reading, or would you recommend to your colleagues? Books in Portuguese. Olá, Marco. Muito bom. So, puppy, this video is for this lesson, actually, is for all levels because I'm just talking about how to use books for learning Portuguese. And in the video that I recorded on YouTube, I give you a list of books that I recommend for beginner, intermediate, and advanced students. So, this lesson is recommended for everyone. Muito bom. First book I read in Portuguese was Os Oito. Oh, I don't know this book. Muito bom, Douglas. Excelente. Looking for more questions, guys. So this is a funny question. Qual é o tempo verbal mais difícil do seu ponto de vista como professora? Well, I think that all the tenses in subjunctive mood usually are the ones that my students struggle the most. And also some compound tenses, right? When we have too many, more than one tense together, it gets complicated. But usually subjunctive tenses, there are many tenses in subjunctive mood, they're usually a little bit more complicated. I only recommend studying subjunctive tenses for intermediate, upper intermediate, and advanced students, because if you're a beginner and you study subjunctive, it just gets too complicated. Okay, guys, what else? What other books would you recommend for a beginner? What other questions do you have for me? Oops, looking for more questions. So where can I find Portuguese books in New York? You cannot. I looked so much everywhere. I never found a Portuguese book, a Brazilian book in New York. There are no Brazilian or Portuguese bookstores here as far as I know. If I'm wrong, if you know that I'm wrong, let me know. I have never found it anywhere. So I recommend in the video, I give you some links. You'll find also the links below the video, this lesson. So I recommend you find some books on Amazon. You find books on, there is this bookstore called Audiobooks. They sell books in Portuguese, also translations from other languages into Portuguese, and they deliver to the US and Europe. And you find Brazilian books on the Brazilian bookstore, Livraria Cultura, that delivers. So they deliver to the US. Okay, so you won't find a bookstore here, I'm sorry. So first one I read was Harry Potter. Always find it easier if you already know the book. Well, yeah, so this is a good tip as well. If you have already read one book in your mother language, you can read the same book in Portuguese, right? You just look for a translation. Harry Potter is a very good option because it's super fun and the translation is probably easier to read than the original Brazilian book, right? So this is a good tip as well. Okay. Oh, same answer to you, Andre. I have no idea where you can find Portuguese books in Arizona. I recommend you look online. Okay, I don't think you find Portuguese books easily in the US. Okay, if there is no Brazilian bookstore in New York, I don't think you find Brazilian books anywhere else. So I recommend you look online. Oh my God. Oh, so you found in your library. That's amazing, Jacob. So maybe take a look at your public library. Maybe they have books in Portuguese. I haven't checked the public library that we have in Brooklyn. Muito bom. Anywhere else, guys? Questions? Do you have any questions about Portuguese or about this topic? I'm here to help you. I can stay a few more minutes with you if you have questions. Okay. Newark used to have a Portuguese bookstore. Oh, that makes sense. So there are a lot of Brazilians in New York, I'm not sure, and also Portuguese people, right? Yes. That would be amazing. If you know any bookstore who sells Brazilian and Portuguese books, let me know. I would love to go there. Que tipo de livros tem muitas fotos? So, children's books. So look for children's books and you find they usually have a lot of pictures and that's easier to read, right? Especially if you are a beginner. So I'm in Brazil right now and I bought História Concisa do Brasil on a Brazilian Amazon. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, and you shipped to the US. That's good. So História Concisa do Brasil. That's a good tip. If you like history, there are many good books about Brazilian history that you could read. Okay. Jose, yes, I do read books online. If you don't like reading, getting a paper book, you find a lot of Brazilian books online on Kindle. There are many Brazilian books available on Kindle and other similar tools. And also on the video, on the lesson, I talk about books that are available for free. Books that are a little bit old, over 70 years old, they become public domain in Brazil. I'm not sure how the rules are in the US, but in Brazil, books that are older, they are very old, they become public domain, and then you can find it on the website called dominiopublico.gov.br. So if you go to this website, you find so many books for free. They are not new books. They are not modern. They're a little bit older, but they're amazing books. So for instance, books from Machado de Assis, one of my favorite authors. You find all his books for free on this website because it is public domain. So I only recommend this for intermediate level, because for beginner level it would be too difficult. But if your level is intermediate, you find a lot of amazing books for free on this website, dominiopublico.gov.br. I think this is the website. Muito bom, gente. Looking for more questions and comments. Yes. So I think I just answered your question, Danielle, right? That website that I just said, they have Brazilian books. Oh, I have no idea if the Russians have very little accent speaking Portuguese. That's a very interesting question. I don't know. I don't speak Russian, and I don't have any Russian friends, unfortunately. So I don't know if they have. I do have some Russian students, and they do speak Portuguese well. So maybe that's a good, maybe that's true. Muito bom. So I have a question here. When do you pronounce the O as U? When the O as, okay, still get confused. So usually the letter O at the end of words is pronounced like U. So this is an accent, right? It varies a little bit from one place to another. So let me think of a question, a word, livro. Livro means book, and we pronounce livro. We don't pronounce livro. It varies a little bit from one region to another. Some people would pronounce livro, but most people pronounce livro. So it's a very, very weak U sound. Livro, livro. So this happens in weak syllables, okay? If the syllable is strong, the O would be pronounced like O, but if the syllable is weak, especially at the end of words, then the O is pronounced as U. Livro, livro, okay? Okay, very good question. Okay, looking for more question. So I just closed enrollment for my courses that started this week. And I'm not sure if you're talking about these classes. So the classes that I offer, the regular courses, I only open enrollment every 3 months. 3 or 4 months, and I just closed enrollment because classes started this week. If you want to learn more about my courses, email me. I can send you more information. The next class will start in May, and enrollment will be open in April, at the end of April. Okay, but I also have all these free resources that are always available. The mini course in pronunciation is always available, and this Q&A every Thursday is also for free. And every week. Happens every week. Oi, Juan, tudo bem? Sim, estou de volta a Nova York. You can see that I'm wearing like winter clothes. So Andrew is asking, hi Virginia, I wanted to know if you have noticed your reading in French also translating to improvement in speaking it for any language for that matter. Yes, because when you read, you learn vocabulary, you learn grammar, you learn everything naturally. Just by reading it, you are always learning grammar, vocabulary, structure, everything from the language. And one thing that I really like to do is to read out loud. So when I do that, I'm also practicing and improving my pronunciation. And sometimes I listen and read at the same time, and I pronounce together with the audio. So there are many things that you could do when you're reading, and naturally it improves your speaking as well and your knowledge of the language as well. So even if you're not studying, like stopping to write down and vocabulary and everything else, if you're just reading just for fun, you are learning naturally, okay? I can see a big difference when I read a book in French or other language. I feel like the language is more present in my mind. I start thinking in that language because it gets into your brain. Okay, guys, looking for more questions. I don't know any book about the history of samba. That's very interesting. I would love to read a book about that as well. But I cannot think. Do you guys know any book about samba, history of samba? That must be so interesting. I've researched a little bit online about that when I was preparing a lesson for my students. So you find a lot of things online in Portuguese, but I don't know any book about it. Onde conseguir letras de músicas brasileiras? Oh, there are many websites available with Brazilian lyrics, Brazilian songs lyrics. There's one that is called Letras, I think, letras.com.br. I'm not sure, you have to check it out, but there are many websites available. If you just type, in Portuguese, lyrics we call letras, right? So letra de música, just as you wrote it. So you find it online. There are many websites available. Yes, so Carolina, to see the correct link for this bookstore, take a look at the video that I published on Tuesday, and the links are all below the video. The name is Livraria Cultura. I'm gonna write here in the comments on YouTube, okay? Livraria Cultura. .com.br. So this is the bookstore, my favorite Brazilian bookstore, and they have international delivery. But sometimes, the last time that I tried to order from them, they were reorganizing their website and they had some issues. So you have to, if you cannot order online, just email them and they will help you with that. But they do offer international shipping, and it's super affordable. Okay, how many Brazilians are there in Brooklyn? I have no idea. I don't know many Brazilians here. I know that there are a huge Brazilian community in Astoria, Queens, and also in Newark. But in Brooklyn, I don't know many Brazilians. Muito bom, gente. Looking for more questions. Samba e pagode é a mesma coisa? Not exactly. Pagode is a variation. It was born from samba, I guess. But the song is different. Pagode is a little bit slower, and usually pagode, the songs are usually about some kind of romance. And samba, it talks about very many different topics. And samba is a little bit more... It is complicated to explain. I don't know how to explain exactly the difference, but Brazilians, when we hear samba and pagode, we can tell the difference immediately, but they are a little bit similar. Pagode is a variation of samba, I would say. Samba is more, it's a very original song that was born many years ago. Pagode it came much later than samba. And samba gave origin to a lot of other kinds of music in Brazil. Muito bom. Looking for more questions, guys. So George is asking, qual é a melhor coisa sobre Speaking Brazilian Academy? So the Academy is my program for intermediate and advanced students. The best thing about it is that you have the opportunity to practice Portuguese with a Brazilian teacher and other students who also have a very good level of Portuguese once a week via Zoom. So this is the most interesting about it. And you also have access to a lot of original material to study by yourself, videos, audios, texts that I prepare myself. They're all original, authentic, and new. So these are the two most important, interesting things about the Academy. So if you're intermediate or advanced, I highly recommend you join the academy. Now it's closed for enrollment. The next class starts in May, and enrollment will be open in April. Okay, guys, looking for more questions. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're asking me questions on Instagram, remember to use the question mark tool, okay? Because I cannot read all your comments. It's very hard to read. Okay. I see one question here. How do you spell? So how do you spell the bookstore? I think I just said, right? It's Livraria Cultura. I cannot write on Instagram now, so you find the link below the video that I published on YouTube on Tuesday. Como é a pronúncia? Opinião, avião. So you're talking here about the nasal sounds, okay? I have some lessons about the nasal sounds that I highly recommend you watch. There is the mini course available on my website where I teach a little bit of nasal sounds. But one tip for you, when you are pronouncing nasal diphthongs, so you have two vowels together, and one of the vowels is nasal, we call them nasal diphthongs, it is important that you remember to pronounce both vowels. Okay? We have two vowels, you have to pronounce both of them. So, opinião. It's not opinion. Two vowels. You have to pronounce both vowels. Even sometimes Brazilians pronounce fast, right? We pronounce it very quickly. But we do pronounce both vowels, and it makes all the difference in the pronunciation. If you pronounce just one sound, it sounds weird. You have to pronounce two sounds. Two sounds. U. The is very nasal. The U is very weak at the end, right? The O sound at the end sounds like a very weak U. Opinião. 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 It's fast, but you have to pronounce both vowels. Avião. Avião. U. Avião. Okay? So that's my tip for you. Remember to pronounce both vowels. Qual foi o livro que mudou sua maneira de ver a vida? Oh wow, so many books have changed my life. So, I'm going to talk about one book that I read recently that really changed my life. It was Nonviolent Communication. I forgot the name of the author, completely forgot. But you find this book everywhere. Nonviolent Communication, amazing book. And it talks about how to communicate with people in a more kind way. It is a lifestyle, guys. I highly recommend it. It's amazing. Nonviolent communication. Okay, guys, I think I answered most of your questions. I'm not seeing any other questions here. Let me just check. Which Brazilian restaurant would you recommend in New York? Okay, so I'm not sure if they are open. I know one Brazilian restaurant called Berimbau. Berimbau, I think it is. Not sure if it is in the village. I've been there a couple of times. The food is amazing, and I don't know. I don't usually go to Brazilian restaurants in New York. I usually just cook at home, but you'll find many good Brazilian restaurants in New York. Okay, looking for more questions. So yes, I have a Brazilian. I have a Facebook group that is open to everyone. You just have to go there and click and ask to join. You have to answer all the questions. You are required to have a profile picture, okay? And then I usually accept new members every week, sometimes every 2 weeks. If you ask to join, you will be accepted soon, but you have to answer all the questions and you need to have a profile picture. This is to protect the group, okay? And I don't accept if you don't have a profile picture and if you don't answer the questions, I will not accept you in the group. Okay, it is a free group. You have access to a lot of other students, and I also post interesting content there once in a while. Okay, guys, looking for more questions. So, qual a melhor maneira para aprender língua? Assistir filmes ou ler livros? I would say both, right? So you have to do a combination of many things, because think about when you were learning your native language. How did you learn it? How many things did you do to learn to speak your native language? You did a lot of stuff, right? You spoke with your parents and friends and family. You watched TV. You read books when you were started reading and writing, right? You did a lot of things. You need that to learn a second language and a third language. You need to feed your brain with many different things, right? You should not do just one thing. You should do many things and feed your brain as much as possible with different things, so you get to learn that language. So I recommend everything. I recommend watching TV in your target language, reading books, speaking, listening to podcasts. The more, the better. Muito bom. I don't think so. No is all. It is a nasal diphthong. You have to say no. When we pronounce very, very fast, sometimes we say num, num. Eu não sei, num. It is always nasal, okay? In Portuguese, I cannot speak for Portuguese spoken in Portugal, but in Brazil, the word no, it is always nasal. We always pronounce both vowels, no, no, no. Sometimes when you speak fast, we say num. It's a nasal sound when we connect words. Por exemplo, if you want to say eu não sei, I don't know, you could say eu não sei. Eu não sei. It's num sound. It's very nasal. It's never no. It's never pronounced like no. It doesn't make any sense in Portuguese. Muito bom. No is a very nasal sound. It's not like now, and it's not like no. It's a different sound, guys. Trust me. Okay. Looking for more questions, guys. So should we start with Portuguese or Spanish? It really depends on what you want. It's hard for me to tell you what you should learn first. It really depends on, do you have friends? Why are you learning the language, right? So you should choose one, and you should have a motive. You should have a motivation. So it's either friends or traveling or job or anything. And then I recommend you choose one and you focus on one at a time, because if you start learning Portuguese and Spanish at the same time, you get very confused. So I recommend you choose one. And then after a few months, when you feel comfortable, then you can start studying the other language. Okay, guys? Okay, I think I answered most of your questions. I will be here again next Thursday at the same time, 12 p.m. New York time. I hope I'll see you then. If you have not watched my lesson, it is available on YouTube about how to study Portuguese with books. I give you a lot of tips. I hope you like it, and I'll see you again next week. Beijo, tchau, tchau. Boa quinta-feira para vocês.